Okay, now we're going to be watching some courtroom judges or courtroom personnel getting attacked by people in custody. This is Courtroom Consequences. 1.4 million subscribers. Nice.
In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Oh. Ooh.
Go now.
Ooh. Here we go. Courtroom
Facing charges
Consequences.
This is Deobra Redden, who's facing charges for attempted battery.
Ooh, dude's coming in with a party mask or a party hat and his his hands bound. Ooh.
In Nevada. 30-year-old Redden was arrested after he allegedly attacked a man with a baseball bat. He pleaded guilty and faced a possible sentence of 1 to 4 years
These guys have really good editing.
in prison. At his sentencing, Redden had a calm and matter-of-fact exchange with Clark County District Judge Mary Kay Holthus.
Based on my criminal history, like I feel that like I shouldn't be like sent to prison for a second time.
Have you looked at your criminal history?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen this video everywhere. It's a really good video because it catches both angles, but completely insane.
Have you looked at your criminal history?
I've actually just
I have, but I don't really need to go to prison again. I have looked at my criminal history, and I know it's bad, but I don't need to go to prison again.
I looked at it.
I mean, you lived it, I
I
suppose.
just looked at it.
Yeah.
Judge Holthus then reminded Redden of his criminal history.
Let's look at this, shall we?
And, you know,
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir.
yeah. I just figured like
Battery on a protected person, robberies.
So in other words, a very, very good man.
Attempt home invasion.
Redden, who struggled with mental health issues like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, tried to convince the judge that he deserved a second chance.
I feel like I shouldn't
Shoot your shot, bro. Hey, say that you changed.
be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do. But I figured that, you know, if I'm in a better place in my life, I'm not doing drugs, I'm not out there committing crimes now, and I feel like I should be given a shot because I'm in a better place than I was.
But Judge
That's a good argument. Good job.
Holthus was having none of it.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history.
There you go. Okay, you shot your shot. Good for you for trying. Reap what you sow.
This is when things got crazy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Redden launched over the courtroom bench and headed straight for Judge
That is
Holthus.
such a jump. Not the flag. Don't touch the American
Eventually,
flag.
deputies were able to restrain him.
Okay, good. Okay, this is all blurred out. Let's listen to the radio traffic.
515's got a big laceration to his head. Judge hit her head into the wall, and I got an inmate that's bleeding up here.
It's going to be a positive transport to UFC for a marshal.
I'm also going to need a biohazard cleanup for a lot of blood on the floor.
It was later found
Look at that jump. His feet are... he is Supermaning right now.
that Redden allegedly punched Judge Holthus and pulled out parts of her hair. One marshal had to be hospitalized and needed 25 stitches after suffering a forehead injury, as well as a dislocated shoulder and a spit mask. 2 days later, Redden was seen in court again, heavily shackled and wearing a spit mask for the sentencing
I
of his
haven't seen this
initial
one.
assault case.
Good morning. All right, this is on for the continuation of Mr. Redden's sentencing for purposes.
Good for her, though, for being back in the courtroom a couple days later for sentencing.
Of the record, I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions.
Good for her for making that statement and, you know, being straightforward with, I was going to give you a sentence, but you interrupted me. And she's not really talking crap. She's not spitting game, you know, trying to get one over at him. She's just telling it how it is. Good for her.
All right, that being said, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court does now sentence you in addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, $150 DA.
Look at all the officers just standing around. CERT. So that's like their SWAT team. CERT stands for different things in different places, but you know, normally that's going to be your, I don't know what CERT with an S would stand for. Emergency response team, maybe specialized emergency response team, something like that.
DNA fee, the $3 DNA administrative assessment fee, and $250 indigent defense.
He is just mean mugging the judge, and the officer or the deputy is mean mugging him.
Defense fee, 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections.
Additionally, he faced 13 new charges for the attack on Judge Holthus,
13.
including attempted murder, battery, and extortion by threat. If
Extortion by threat and attempted murder.
convicted, Redden could spend decades in prison. Diablo Redden is a prime example of a convict acting crazy in court. However, whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. Like in the case of Melissa Hardwick,
Oh, I
who
haven't
was
seen
in
this one.
Russell and Wayne County Family Court in Kentucky for a domestic violence hearing. Melissa's
I'm not a violent person. I just attack judges.
ex-husband had filed a domestic violence order against her.
Your statements in your petition as part of your testimony, but I need you to tell me briefly, in your own words, what happened to cause you to ask for a domestic violence order.
Yes, Your Honor. Things have been escalating, I guess, since the first of the year, and Melissa's had a couple MIWs and a couple
Moving while intoxicated. MIWs, I believe.
arrests, and she got out of jail in, I guess, April, and she started, we hadn't really had anything personal.
Hold on. Let's look that up. MIW. Oh, mental. Oh, okay. Okay. MIW is short for mental inquest warrant, and MIW is is actually a process by which someone who is mentally ill, who presents a danger or threat of danger to self, family, or others as a result of mental illness, who can reasonably benefit from treatment. Basically, it's just a warrant that's approved by a judge saying that they can be on a mental health hold or something like that, or an involuntary commitment for the purposes of mental health.
Up until that point, she got out of jail in April.
He was explaining the situation when suddenly Melissa erupted.
My personal life is
No.
your business, John. It has nothing to do with
Miss
you
Hardwick?
boys.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
No.
You will be held in contempt of this court if you become disruptive.
I don't care. I haven't
Speak your mind, Melissa.
done anything to this court. I haven't done anything to
Okay.
him.
She will be
It
arrested
doesn't
for
make
contempt
any-
of the
It doesn't
court.
make any difference.
You will serve 10 days for contempt of court.
10 days.
He was arrested for contempt and sentenced to 10 days in jail. This is when things got crazy.
Go now.
Oh, old school got in there. No, you ain't gonna touch my judge. And even older school comes in and says, mm-mm.
Melissa leapfrogged towards the judge, but thankfully, court deputies stopped her just
Heck
in
yeah.
time. However, that did not stop her verbal threats.
Verbal commands.
Get my bracelet off the floor.
Melissa faced additional criminal charges. for her antics.
A new judge will have to be appointed to represent because she will be charged criminally for the threats that were made in open court today.
Eventually,
Okay. Good job on the judge.
Melissa was sentenced to 120 days in prison for her outburst.
There you go.
While Melissa Hardwick got off, CCTV footage outside a Kentucky jail showed Webb, a former inmate who spent 3 months there on assault charges, intentionally hitting 2 prison workers with his car. While one guy managed to dodge it, the other was not so lucky. Webb was arrested and produced in court.
Did they say inmate workers?
Assault charges, intentionally hitting 2 prison workers with his car.
Like prisoner workers?
While one guy
Oh, like employees, probably.
managed to dodge it, the other was not so lucky. Webb was arrested
Like
and produced
COs.
in court before Judge Vanessa Dixon.
Uh-oh.
Since she knew the 2 jail employees beforehand, Judge Dixon decided to recuse herself from the case.
Okay, good on her. That's very appropriate.
There's no way I'm going to try this case or have any further proceedings, or I have to see you for one further set.
But what Webb did next shocked the whole courtroom.
Set preliminary hearing for next week.
Oh! Lawyer's like, no! No! Come on. That lawyer's face. And the judge is just like, what?
Webb literally spat on Judge Dixon, clearly taking her by surprise. After initially dismissing him, Judge Dixon brought Webb back, charged him, and threw him out of the courtroom. Nevertheless, this is not the end of Webb's defiance of the law. While awaiting trial, Webb started a riot with other inmates inside the Fayette County Detention Center.
Fayette. It's Fayette. Say it right. North Carolina. Oh, Lexington. Okay. Oops, not North Carolina. I thought we were talking like Fayetteville.
Webb was shot with beanbag inside the Fayette County Detention Center. Webb was shot with beanbag bullets and even hit in the neck with a pepper ball.
It seems like a glancing blow because a beanbag will knock him down. Even though he's a big dude, beanbag will put him down if they hit him right. Also, a pepper ball in the neck, that sucks.
In retaliation, Webb swung a metal telephone box at a corrections officer.
That is attempted murder. I would say that's attempted murder, or at least like high-level felony assault with intent.
He was charged again for his actions and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
There you go.
I will accept the jury's recommendation of 5 years on count 1, enhanced to 15 years pursuant to the persistent felony offender of first degree.
Additionally, Webb was convicted of attempting to murder the 2 jail employees.
There you go. Attempted murder on that one.
And got an additional 37 years, facing
52 years. All right.
a total of 52 years of prison time. During this time, new evidence came up linking Webb to the unsolved murder of his ex-girlfriend, Bria Runewitz. While incarcerated, Webb had bragged to a detective about murdering the 32-year-old. To escape the death penalty, Webb pleaded guilty and got an additional 50 years in prison. Now,
okay, well, Mr. Webb will not be a menace on society, just a menace on the COs of Lexington, Kentucky.
if that wasn't enough, 5 years later, another cold case came to haunt Webb. This time, he was charged with the murder of another ex-girlfriend, Sabrina Vaughn.
Was this guy like a semi-truck driver? Oh, dude got some ink while he was in. Look at that. Did not have ink.
He was charged with the murder of another ex-girlfriend, Sabrina Vaughn. This time,
Definitely got some ink. Well, I guess if he's doing life, he's got to get associated with somebody. I guess that tracks.
Webb appeared in court with a sinister tattoo on his head. It had a murder hit list of all the people he intended to kill.
All judges, all prosecutors, all cops, the media, rat number 1, rat number 2, rat number 3. This guy should probably be doing the rest of his time in the shoe.
Including all judges, all prosecutors, all cops, the media, 3 rats that had been crossed out, and many more. Webb was convicted and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility...
Oh, because the 50-year on top of the 52-year wasn't enough. There you go.
...of parole after 25 years.
You have found the defendant guilty
Oh, got something blurred out on that side.
of the offense of intentional murder.
While Bass Webb's audacious acts in the courtroom shocked everyone, how does it compare to elbowing your own lawyer? Like in the case
We're gonna elbow our lawyer, huh?
of Joseph Zeeler, a double murder suspect in Cape Coral, Florida. Back in May 1990, 11-year-old Robin Cornell and her babysitter Lisa Story were found assaulted and murdered.
Naughty. Assaulted. Oh, it's written right there.
At their home. The gruesome scene was discovered by Robin's mom, Jan Cornell, who called 911.
What if you can create your...
It's not that hard. With Wix. Oh, that's terrible.
The case went cold for over 2 decades until Zeeler was arrested in 2016 for shooting and injuring his son. His DNA was collected and entered into the database, which matched the DNA evidence.
You'd be surprised how often that right there happens. When people are arrested on certain level offenses, a lot of times states require a DNA sample be collected. And when somebody's arrested and there's probable cause to conduct that arrest, the state will require that DNA be collected at the time of booking or processing or whatever, at whatever point they require. And with that, a lot of cold cases get to be found out because they get DNA samples sent to the state labs. And yeah, it's crazy, but it happens a lot.
From the 1990 crime scene.
Now, Joseph Zeeler was actually arrested for another crime, and that's how detectives were able to get his fingerprints and DNA samples. His sample was put into a database called CODIS, and that database also stores unknown DNA samples, including those from the Cornell Story case. Now, when the system ran, that's when detectives got a hit linking Zeeler to this 26-year-old murder case.
Zeeler
Cold cases are solved all the time by that.
Was further arrested and charged with...
And it could be as simple as, like, in some states, you know, like an aggravated DUI or whatever, whatever low-level offense that just gets aggravated to the level that state requires a DNA sample be collected. And a lot of times states don't have records of people's fingerprints. So they get booked and they collect the fingerprint samples or records, and then they get a sample of the DNA, and through the jail booking and the department's detectives, they find these cold cases from years ago. It's pretty cool.
Capital murder. In court, prosecutors sought the death penalty.
The kind of factors which makes what the defendant did to Robin Cornell and Lisa Story so grave, so serious, that death is the appropriate recommendation, that death is the appropriate sentence.
Zeeler then took the stands. He initially denied knowing both the victims and Jan.
Do you know Jan Cornell?
No, I don't know Jan Cornell.
Do you know Lisa Story?
No.
Do you know Robin Cornell?
No.
but later said his DNA was at the crime scene because he and Jan were involved in intimate acts the night before the murders.
That was a dumb argument.
And what I believe happened is I slept with Jan Cornell and Leanne Deller, and they were just too much of a pig not to wash their sheets.
He even called the victim's mother a pig.
Your DNA would have still been there 5 months later.
Yes.
And that's because they're pigs and they don't wash their sheets, right?
Exactly.
You know that?
Well, I assume that, just like you're assuming that
But just so the record's clear, when I said they're pigs and they wash their sheets, that's what you said.
Absolutely.
Zeller then
That's pretty terrible.
Claimed that the prosecutor was framing him.
Well, the DNA witnesses, did you hear them say that they actually did retest NB32? That they actually took the sheet, recut another sample, and had another analyst do the same test? Did you hear that?
Yes.
So the retesting was done.
I believe FDLE is siding with the prosecution. Of course they're going to say that.
Eventually, the jury found Zeller guilty of first-degree murder.
Good.
Verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder of Robin Cornell. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder of Lisa Story.
But what Zeller did next left the whole courtroom stunned. At his sentencing, Zeller appeared in handcuffs. First, he asked his attorney for a private discussion.
With the one-sided audio here.
What's that?
As the attorney leaned in, Zeller threw a cheap shot with his elbow.
Okay, so I said this in one of my previous videos about the side shackle restraints, we call them pregnancy chains, or however they have him rigged up in restraints at this point. You're giving them limited mobility so that they could grab like door handles or, help themselves in and out of a transport vehicle. Or if they are in fact pregnant, like if they were to fall, they would be able to brace themselves. Not like typically being handcuffed behind the back, or a lot of times people will be handcuffed with a belly chain and then one single cuff in the front where they're effectively like this so they can only rotate or articulate their hands. And so you could see he went for the punch, but he didn't have the leverage or it didn't have the distance on the chain to continue that punching motion, so he threw an elbow. It kind of went like this.
As the attorney leaned in, Zeller threw a cheap shot with his elbow. Thankfully, detectives quickly subdued him.
They were right on it.
All right. I ain't doing nothing. Relax. I'm calm.
Are you okay? I'm fine.
I'm relaxed. I'm calm. Relax.
Your Honor, I would like to recuse myself from being this individual's lawyer at this time. So dumb. So dumb, the things that people do.
Meanwhile, the lawyer saw the funny side of the incident.
Good.
I used to box. I've taken a lot better shots than that.
After the dust settled, it was time for Zeller to learn.
Is that when the lawyer gets up on the stand and said, Your Honor, I knew he was guilty the entire time he admitted it to me. And I used to be a boxer, and I could take a lot better shots than that, Your Honor, for the record.
Learn his fate.
The court's review of other capital cases has led the court to conclude that the death penalty would be a proportionate sentence in this case. Therefore, the court concludes that under the laws of the state of Florida, the defendant has forfeited his right to live.
He was sentenced to the death penalty.
Accordingly, it is ordered and adjudged that the defendant, Joseph Adam Zeller, is hereby sentenced to death for the murder of Robin Cornell and the murder of Lisa Story.
While Joseph Zeller's attack on his defense seemed premeditated, how does it compare to punching someone out of the blue, like in the case of Christopher Teal, who was in the...
I wonder if that guy is still in custody. This came out a year ago.
hereby sentenced to death for the murder of Robin Cornell and the murder of Lisa Story.
While Joseph Zieler's attack on...
Let's see. I know Florida handles capital cases very well, but if this is only a year old, what was it? Joseph Zieler? January 2025. Florida Department of Corrections. Florida Supreme Court to hear convicted killer Joseph Zieler's appeal. I hope it's not the same lawyer. I really hope that guy is no longer in the employ of this guy.
On his charges in Seattle, Christopher Teal, who was in the King County courtroom facing sexual assault charges in Seattle, Washington.
Oh!
Facing out of the blue. Lines seemed premeditated. How does it compare to punching someone out of the blue? Like in the case of Christopher Teal, who was in the King County courtroom facing sexual assault charges in Seattle, Washington.
Who'd he hit? Good job on...
Suggests that
Good job on the deputy's response there. They took him down real quick.
Teal, a homeless man, followed a woman inside a restaurant. Company employees barred and unlawful imprisonment. As the hearing began, Teal seemed amused and raised his arm towards Birkland before being stopped by a court officer.
Mr. Teal's present. He's in custody. He's represented by counsel, Mr. Birkland.
Then suddenly, without provocation, Teal snapped.
Standing from his counsel, who I'll defer to in a moment, that they are now...
Just seems like the initial hearing, they're just announcing who he is and what he's there for and who's representing him.
Stipulating that Mr.
Cheap shot.
Out of nowhere, Teal punched his own lawyer.
Okay, so his own lawyer.
Luckily, the police quickly managed to subdue him.
Probably a public defender, if I'm being honest. It's probably not his lawyer. He probably doesn't have a lawyer, if I'm being honest. I would assume. Nope.
Put your hand behind your back now.
Dogpiled.
A spit hood was placed over his head,
job.
and Teal was removed
Party
from the
hat.
courtroom. Birkland was unhurt in the incident, barring his pride. He promptly withdrew from the case.
Good for him. Definitely a public defender.
Regarding the Christopher Teal matter.
No.
Okay.
Do you have any comments? No.
I have a question though. Are you running a diminished capacity or insanity or anything of that nature?
I don't have anything to talk about.
The next time Teal appeared in court, the officers ensured
In a restraint chair. He shows up to court in a restraint chair. That is unusual. You see a lot of these guys coming in security devices. It's pretty common practice that people go to court in restraints, and that's about it.
Punching.
Just like the guy who threw an elbow at his lawyer.
Anyone. Teal was seen heavily strapped to a chair.
A
However,
restraint chair.
He still had one complaint.
Looks like he got hit in the head or had a zit on his head or something like that.
Teal's biggest concern was how his hair looked in his mugshot.
I'd like to know where the they got that photo of me with my short hair. Because that was on Facebook, and I don't have a Facebook.
All right.
So you're on a legitimate question.
What?
Do they have access to Google?
The judge
Yes, sir. We do have access to Google within the Department of Corrections and the courts.
scheduled another hearing in a week's time. Eventually, Teal was sentenced to 8.5 years in prison. While Teal's reaction could certainly be dismissed as a mental health issue, what happens when you get into a wrestling match with the judge? Like in the case of Sidney Newsom, who is facing a domestic violence charge in Pike County Justice Court in Mississippi. Southern District Judge Aubrey Rhymes was presiding over the hearing. Newsom initially seemed to be in a good mood as he reviewed some papers.
Okay, so it looks like he is restrained with a belly chain and and is shackled, and I can't tell if there's a chain going from the belly cut or the belly chain to the shackles, but it looks like it.
But an altercation with a court officer seems to agitate him.
Okay, so the bailiff is probably telling him to stay right there.
An altercation with a court
You're not done
officer
yet.
seemed to agitate him. Newsom was then asked to sign some papers.
Okay, there's a good shot. You can see that belly chain. Just this is the most common that I would consider as standard to go to court in. Belly chain around the belly, handcuffs in the front, just one pair of handcuffs, and then leg shackles. Yep, you can see the leg shackles there.
Which the officer presented to Judge Rhymes. However, Newsom was not ready to rest his case. He furiously argued with Judge Rhymes, who promptly asked the officer to remove him from the court. As he was being led from the courtroom, Newsom lost it.
Okay, definitely shouldn't be letting this guy do whatever he wants in the courtroom. If somebody starts getting unruly, get people in there, get them out. Get them out. The judges do not put up with this stuff, and I'm sure that bailiff got a talking to, because she should have just escorted him out immediately. Okay, not good control. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I haven't used a uniform or a clothing article to get control, but when the guy is already restrained, this is a perfect time for a seatbelt takedown. Seatbelt takedowns are very effective, especially with people who are restrained, because you can displace them to the ground very gently while maintaining positive control of their entire upper body. This looks like a good opportunity for training.
First, he grabbed a stack of papers and threw it at Judge Rhymes.
Yep.
The officer tried to subdue him, but Newsom managed to overpower her.
He's going to slip out of her hands. Not positive control, no radio call. Did not.
He then threw a telephone.
So this is one of those scenarios where hopefully that there's a central control at the courthouse that's monitoring cameras. But if it's a busy courthouse, there could be page after page after page on huge monitors. There could be multiple tens of 20s of hearings going on. And this looks like a small courtroom. So it may be set up like that, where there's a ton of courtrooms, and this just, it could easily be missed by a control room operator or somebody monitoring video cameras. But I don't even know if she has a radio. And so anytime you go hands-on with somebody, you need to get backup started your way. Even if you feel confident in controlling the matter, it's not a matter of looking weak. And something I see with young COs, a big thing I see with younger people in corrections, is people are afraid to go hands-on. And being afraid to go hands-on, especially because of all the stuff in the media, and people are worried about losing their job and all of this stuff, and all of that's completely warranted. But being afraid to control somebody, if that's your issue, you need to train more so that you get better at that, because you you can't be afraid to go hands-on with a person or a prisoner, especially if this is your job. You need to be expected to handle the situation. And just grabbing somebody by the shirt, this is a perfect, clear cut. Should have taken the guy to the ground, made a radio call, got extra bodies running in to support you. The guy's already restrained, so you don't have to worry about restraining him. You just need to stabilize him, whether it's against a wall like she's attempting to do right now or against the ground. You need to control the subject, because that judge will not tolerate that.
First, he grabbed a stack of papers and threw it at Judge Rhymes. The officer tried to subdue him, but Newsom managed to overpower her.
Positive control. Another good point to bring up is the position of escort. Putting your hands behind their back is not a good position of escort. If somebody's being unruly, attach. Whether that's a shoulder and a hand, whether that's an arm underneath the armpit, that's a really good place to grab somebody who's restrained, who's being a little passive non-compliant. Because I could see what she's thinking, and she could be seeing this as passive non-compliance. And okay, dude, just settle down. Just settle down. Tap. I'm here. Let's just get you out of the courtroom. But it's your job to ensure safety and security in that courthouse, and it didn't happen. Now you got people in the back looking like they want to get in on it, and you still have prisoners now intermingled with population. Or not population, bad term. You've got prisoners intermingled with the public, and potentially that back door to the courthouse is open. This could be an opportunity for those other two prisoners to attempt to escape.
He then threw a telephone at the judge. This is when the judge decided to take matters into his own hands. As Newsom threw more paper at him, Judge Rhymes single-handedly
No way! No, how have I not seen this before?
into his own hands. As Newsom threw more paper at him, Judge Rhymes single-handedly pinned him to the table.
Can we get a radio call from some assistance?
Eventually, backup arrived.
Okay, she totally dipped out on the scenario. That judge is going to be ticked at this scenario. If the bailiff just bounced and let the judge, oh man.
Newsom was restrained.
This is a failure of training. That I'm not going to get into the women shouldn't be in law enforcement. I'm not going to make those arguments, because I personally know great females in law enforcement that can handle their own. I'm going to chalk this up to a failure of training.
Backup arrived.
Oh my.
Newsom was restrained. Judge Rhymes single-handedly pinned him to the table. Eventually, backup arrived. Newsom was restrained and taken from
Not restrained. He was already restrained, but okay.
the courtroom. He faced additional charges for contempt of court and served 48 hours in prison.
What? What? 48 hours? So this is another thing to bring up. A lot of times on the East Coast, the word prison and jail are mixed so much that you really can't tell the difference. Back east, sometimes it's like county prison, or there's the sheriff that has custody of the county prison, and it confuses the living crud out of me. But I don't know what's going on, but apparently he did 48 hours in prison.
Sidney Newsom's courtroom antics were definitely crazy, but how does it compare to headbutting a police officer? Like in the case of Daniel Stewart Berry, who's facing robbery charges in Mississippi. Reports suggest that 21-year-old Daniel allegedly robbed a store where he leapt over the counter, put a female clerk in a headlock, and grabbed $20 from the open cash register.
Aggravated robbery. Ag rob for $20, dude.
Daniel, a business major student, was arrested and charged with 1 count of strong-armed robbery.
Yeah, strong arm.
When Daniel was being taken to court, he totally lost it.
Okay, so at the very beginning, you could see he ripped his party hat off.
He was facing hair to headbutting a police officer, like in the case of Daniel Stewart.
Yeah, so they probably knew he was going to be a problem, and they had him restrained like this, but people who are used to being restrained, you know, if he's been in for a minute, he's been restrained and moved and taken to court and restrained and taken to court and restrained. So he understands how to move in handcuffs. That's something you, as a deputy or correctional officer, you've got to think about, is how these people understand the mechanics of manipulating restraints. So even if this is another common thing I see with people who are in custody, is restrained semi-back. So they have one cuff on this side, one cuff on this side, and they're restrained almost behind their back, but not completely. They can roll their wrist and get up to their face. So just because they're like this doesn't mean they can't roll their hand up. So he was able to manipulate the spit mask and pull it off.
Barry was facing robbery charge. He lost it.
Oh, man. Okay, so this looks like a very cramped place, and you got a big guy and on one side, big guy on the other side, cramped place. This guy probably shouldn't have been standing there in the first place, especially when somebody's acting a little rowdy. Nobody's giving commands for him to stop, so, I mean, that doesn't mean he would have, but standing there when somebody's being forcibly escorted down and now you're the wall at the end of the tunnel is not optimal, but
Daniel cursed and headbutted a sheriff's deputy, breaking his nose. He was quickly carried off and detained.
good for him though. The guy that got headbutted, if he broke his nose, he instantly engaged and took leg control, and they decentralized him and placed him on the ground. That's good on that deputy. I don't think he should have been there in the first place, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he's interacted with the prisoner. I like to caveat and play devil's advocate on both sides with everything, because there are two sides to every story. Maybe this deputy has had interactions with this prisoner before, and maybe he thought he wasn't going to do anything to him, but in this scenario, he got headbutted. But yeah, he instantly re-engages. Good on him.
The sheriff's deputy, breaking his nose. He was quickly carried off and detained.
Yep, leg control, decentralized, taken straight into a cell. I guarantee you he's bleeding from the nose. I wonder if this is the sheriff right here.
Daniel was under the influence of drugs and had also assaulted a jail worker the previous night.
Correctional deputy, not jailer.
Know what this is or how much he's taken or whatever, but we'll have to get him evaluated by a doctor, but we've got to determine a safe way to do it for the doctor and for him and for us.
He faced additional charges of assaulting a law enforcement officer.
Good.
His bond was set at $200,000.
Heck yeah, man. Okay, again, this was Courtroom Consequences. This was really well done, and check them out. They've got some good videos I've watched before, but some of these I hadn't seen, and it was good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and we'll see you on the next one.